When Jesus returned to Jerusalem and stepped into the temple courts, he found the same corruption he had quietly observed the evening before. What should have been a place of prayer had been turned into a noisy market, filled with merchants bargaining, buyers haggling, and the clatter of coins being exchanged. Without hesitation and without harming a single person, he began to cast out those who bought and sold. He overthrew the tables of the money changers, exposing the greed that had taken root, and overturned the seats of those who sold doves, those offerings meant for the poor, now used as a means of exploitation. The Lord's authority swept through the courts like a cleansing wind, not with violence toward men, but with judgment upon the system that had twisted worship into profit. Mark records an additional detail that deepens the weight of this moment. Jesus gone would not suffer that any man should carry any vessel through the temple. The people had begun using God's holy place as a shortcut, passing through with their goods and containers as if it were merely a public street. The Lord stopped them in their tracks, shutting down every misuse of the temple's purpose. By forbidding vessels to be carried through, he restored the meaning of the place. It was not a marketplace, not a corridor for commerce, but the dwelling where God's presence was to be honored. Then he taught with a voice that carried both authority and grief. Is it not written, "My house shall be called of all nations the house of prayer, but ye have made it a den of thieves"? His words reached back to Isaiah's promise and Jeremiah's warning, declaring that the very house meant to welcome the world into worship had been turned into a refuge for those who robbed God of glory and robbed the people of sincerity. And the scribes and chief priests heard him. They were not moved to repentance but to rage. They sought how they might destroy him, fearing him not for his force but for his truth. The people were astonished because his doctrine did not flatter, but exposed, calling the temple back to purity and calling hearts back to God.